NPL Form 6 student, and you can see this one is the Amah rock. And from the video you have recognized right here, can you know that what kind of rock is it belongs to? Can you have a guess? Right now you are having a video about this. Let's think about it. And right now we are having a closer look about this rock of the Amah rock. Inside the Amah rock, you can find out there are 3 different kinds of mineral inside the Amah rock. And the back one, you should know this, which is mica. And then for the right one, you can see right here is quartz. And then the yellow or even brown one is feldspar. So again, in a whole landscape or whole landform of the Amah rock, can you see or can you recognize what kind of landform is it by more aerial video view of from the drone? And you can see Mr. Learn, by the way, actually. And then how do you recognize this kind of landform in terms of the denudation? First of all, you have to find out you have to memorize what is denudation. So in the denudation, I think you should know that there's weathering, there's erosion, there's transportation, and also their deposition. Okay, so from this kind of processes, how can you recognize the work of different processes in the Amah rock? Let's have a look. So the answer is here, and then you can see the notice board which is next to the Amah rock, and you can see most of the Amah rock is made up by the intrusive volcanic rock, and which is granite. And just ignore the metaphor or the story about Amah rock because it's not the curriculum, but you can see from time to time the joint inside the granite, and then is being weathered, and then after the weathering, the erosion take place, and then bring all the rocks, bring all the regolith or weathered material goes away along with the winds, along with the water, and finally the remainder rock, and we will call it as tor, and then it finally make a Amah rock like pattern. And for further, you can recognize, you can see the notice right there. On top of the Amah rock itself, inside the Amah rock, we can find some physical weathering as well. Although the whole Amah rock is made by the chemical weathering, which is boreal weathering, and you can see there's some joint, and not joint in the granite. In the joint of the Amah rock, we can also find a lot of plant roots, and then the plant roots can also help to enlarge the joint in the rock, and which can be recognized as a kind of biological weathering. Okay, and you can see there's a lot of plant roots really located in the gap between the rock, or joint between the rock, and so on and so forth. Chemical weathering, and then I would like to show you. And for the chemical weathering, which is talking about this, and mainly about the alias rock such as granite, as you can see, granite, and then also for another rock. And my major mainly it is caused by the carbonation, and which is about the carbon dioxide, and also react with the water, and then it form a mild carbonic acid, which is having a quite a low pH level. For example, it's 4 pH value, and then it is going to happen like in the karst topography. And then hydration mainly because it's about the calcium sulfate. Okay, and what's more, hydrolysis, which is talking about the water breaks down the chemical bond of a mineral instead of creating a new mineral. Okay, which means the water are trying to decompose the original content of the rocks. And also oxidation, which is just like the rusting of the iron, and which is forming a iron oxide. So these it should be four chemical reaction. You have to bear in mind, and then you have to write in your essay. Okay, and that is the chemical rendering. Okay. So after all the chemical weathering take place, and then though mainly those four kinds of chemical weathering, which includes the carbonation, hydration, hydrolysis, as well as the oxidation, altogether it will come as it will form as a altogether comes as a sporal weathering. And certainly it involves those physical weathering, such as the block disintegration along the joint, and you can see there's quite a lot of joint in the Amah rock, and which include a hexagonal columnar joint. Perpendicular joint. You can see there's a lot of perpendicular joint, and which is like this. I think you are quite good in mathematics, so I think you should know what is perpendicular. Okay, which is like this. And then the physical weathering, as well as the biological weathering, as well as the chemical weathering all together, it will form a altogether form the sporal weathering. And finally, after the sporal weathering, we are forming a large layer of the thick layer of the wear materials, and it will come like this. And then some of the core stone are remaining in the lower part of the layer, and you can see there's some core stone in the lower layer of the soil. And then finally the erosion will take place, and it will erode all the weathered material away, exposing the core stone that piles up as tores. And you can see there's a lot of tores right here, a lot of, okay, there's a tores right here, and then it's make up a lot of core stone. Okay, and you can see the so-called head of the Amah rock 個頭啊講緊 okay and then the core stone, the head of the Amah rock is a kind of core stone already. Okay, so they are piled together and then form a torus, and that's how Amah rock is formed. And then afterwards, I would like to show you a greater view, a larger view, apart from the Amah rock, not just in the Amah rock, which is about the Shatin Valley. So you can see from the aerial photograph, and then you can see there's a valley right here, and provided that the Amah rock is somewhere like here, let's see, yeah, it should be somewhere like here, yeah, it's the Chinese of the Amah rock. And then from here you can see there's a great valley, a large valley that's extend from the Amah rock to the Shatin Hoi. Okay, Shatin Hoi is right here, and Total Harbor as well as. So accordingly, throughout this valley, you can see there's a dotted line, and this dotted line is representing the fault line of Hong Kong, the major fault line of Hong Kong, which is extended from the Lian Hua Shan in Shenzhen. Okay, so accordingly, and you can see this dotted line is extended from the Total Harbor as well as the Xingmun Valley. Okay, and this kind of fault line will be providing a relatively line of weakness, and this kind of line of weakness is going to make the weathering, erosion, as well as the denudation will take place easily, and then most of the material will be wearing away. Okay, maybe by means of weathering and also erosion, maybe eroded away or weathered away. Okay, so relatively along the faulting line, and then you can see a relatively lower valley can be resolved, not just in the Xingmun Valley. You can find it in the Xiu Lake Yun. Xiu Lake Yun is right here, and then also along the Xiu Lake Yun there's a parallel line towards the Fortan. Okay, you can find out there are a valley in Fortan, which is Zhenyang Estates, that is quite famous for quarantine, and then the Xiu Lake Yun, which is quite famous for the driving school, and then both of them are in the valley. It's also because of the valley, but it is perpendicular to the Xingmun Valley. Okay, the Xingmun Valley is extend from the Total Harbor to the Bacon Hill. Okay, or the Land Rock. Okay, as my drone have fired around here. Okay, and you can see there's a great valley right here. All are caused by faulting. So it is also why I have to emphasize the problem of faulting is because the 201H essay paper is about the faulting as well. Okay, so it's asking you whether the faulting is good for your development of the housing or so on and so forth, and also whether it is favoriting the mass movement such as the rockfall as well as the landslide. So actually the answer is yes. Okay, because the faulting is really creating a line of weakness for the denudation to take place. So accordingly, there will be more mass wasting, more rock or rockfall, and you can elaborate in terms of the shear stress as well as the shear strength. Okay, for example, there will be more loosened material, which will increase the shear stress, and then also the loosened material will reduce the shear strength, which makes the mass wasting to be happen easily. So this is how we can find a valley in the Xingmun Valley. Okay, in the Shatin area.